From the minute we're born, we're aging. Constant exposure to our environment, the things we eat, and stresses from both inside and outside our bodies all cause us to age over time. Aging is highly complex, but scientists are starting to understand what happens at the cellular and molecular levels. For example, healthy cells are damaged over time when our immune systems shift from reacting to short-term problems like injuries and infections to gradually producing chronic inflammation throughout the body. Time also gradually shortens the telomeres that act as protective caps for our DNA-containing chromosomes. These and other changes make our bodies less and less able to deal with stresses from inside and outside of our body, so when damage reaches a critical level, our cells, tissues, and organs may no longer perform normally, and our health starts to decline. The changes associated with aging start to happen on some level at day one. We begin to experience their effects early in life. For example, we lose the ability to hear certain high-frequency sounds as teenagers. Our cognition and memory slowly decline after they peak in our mid-20s. The strength of our bones starts to decrease in our 30s. Female fertility sharply declines after 35. Age-related nearsightedness begins in our mid-40s. And our hair starts to gray and thin as early as our 30s and 40s. After the age of 50, the changes of aging become increasingly noticeable. And because aging is the biggest risk factor for most of the diseases that affect us as adults, the older we get, the higher our risk of chronic disease becomes. While scientists have not yet found a way to stop these processes of aging, they are learning more and more about how to maintain health throughout our lives. Some aspects of aging are out of our control, like our genetics and our family history, but we can educate ourselves about moderate risk factors and do our best to reduce them through healthy lifestyle and diet choices. Most of us can be healthy and active well into our later years if we take care of ourselves. It's no surprise that regular physical activity can help maintain a healthy weight, improve moods and sleep habits, and boost overall health. And it's clear that a well-balanced diet full of nutritious foods is critical to good health. But when it comes to understanding which foods are the best choices, much nutrition research has focused on how certain foods or nutrients may have a negative effect on health or even play a role in disease development. More recently, scientists have begun to explore and understand how nutrition may play a role in promoting healthy aging throughout all of life's stages. We are rapidly learning about what foods and nutrients should be emphasized in our diets and how they can enhance our health. Diets full of fruits and veggies, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and lean meats have proven health benefits like lowering blood pressure, improving glucose control in diabetes, weight loss, improving arthritis, and reducing the risk of cancer and cardiovascular events, to name a few. And we are learning more about the specific nutrients that can impact health. For example, plant pigments found in bright orange and red fruits and vegetables may prevent and slow the progression of eye diseases. Calcium helps to keep bones strong. B vitamins play a role in maintaining brain health. And flavonoids from many plants may improve the health of our cardiovascular systems. The bottom line is that you have the power to maintain and improve your health, add vitality to your years, and reduce your risk of disease. And it's never too late to make it.
Namaste, everybody. Today, on the final topic of our discussion on wellness, we have immunescence. And immunescence is about immunity, and it is about conscious consumption. And conscious consumption is very important in the current given context. And keeping our immune system in tight leash is a very important thing. And to help us understand this further, we have on board Ms. Subina Thomas, who's done her PGDM in nutrition and dietetics, and she is a consultant for St. John's Hospital and for Malya Hospital. Currently, she's the resident consultant for nutrition and diet and heads the division for performance nutrition in Synergy, and she's a nutritionist for Motherhood and Home Hospitals. So, Subina Thomas, welcome on board.
Yeah.
And today, it is one of the most important topics, and hopefully we'll get some useful insights, and it will help all of us to understand nutrition in the right sense and use nutrition to build our immune system to combat the stresses that we are facing. So welcome on board.
Thank you. Thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you, Tati.
And the first question that I want to start off with is, us being immunocompromised and immunosuppressed in the current context because of not getting the food and nutrition that we would otherwise have in terms of the variety and comfort in which we're having access to these. Secondly, we are mostly stuck indoors and not getting enough sunlight. That is the second factor. The third factor is that being working from home, that has also put a lot of restriction on the timings and how do we plan all this so that we can effectively perform given the challenging situation we are in. Can you tell us on boosting immunity and health?
So one big hi to all. So hope you all are safe at home. We will start with the diet. How much diet plays an important role in the immunity building. Okay. So before that, one thing I must say is like till the year 2020 begins, it was like all people were very much conscious about how can I reduce weight. Now that question is just vanished. All are very conscious about how can we keep ourselves immune to safe from the present scenario or the COVID pandemic. Okay.
Right.
So most important thing what we need to know is like immunity is there inbuilt in us from the time of birth. It is there with us. But because of the way we were living, because of the food what we are eating, what happened is like we slowly started lacking in things. Okay.
Right.
So which will lead into lack of immunity. So we need to rebuild it. That we all are doing these days by taking all the traditional ways. Immunity is of two types: innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity means our body itself have lot of immunity power. First is physical things like skin. If any unwanted or foreign materials touches our skin, immediately the skin react. Then there are a lot of enzymes, stomach acids, then like certain cells will be produced in the body. See, these all things naturally it is there. Second thing is like acquired immunity. It is like after getting into some sickness, for example like chicken pox and all. Once we get chicken pox, our body will become automatically immune to that disease. So like this, our body already have a lot of immunity powers. Okay. So now we will mainly divide what all are the main things which help to keep ourselves immune. Most important thing is like the food what we eat, then how active we are or the exercises what we are doing, a proper sleep and stress. See, all these things have its own part in building our immunity. We are slowly started going back to our olden days. It is like started having food at home. We started trying a lot of our traditional things. Before that, it was like we were very busy. We used to run behind ready to eat things. Now the things changed. That itself started making us more immune. So that is a very good thing actually happened. So what we need to keep in our mind, first thing is like whatever food we are eating, it should be local, it should be traditional, and it should be seasonal. These three things plays a very important role to make ourselves immune. What our grandparents were eating, what our parents were eating, these all what all things what we are eating, many of these things they were not eating. They were all making homemade things. So they were much stronger. Actually, they are much stronger than us. COVID pandemic taught us.
Absolutely.
So that we have to take it. And place to place, season to season, the diet pattern changes. So
Right.
now what we happen is like in the modern world, we slowly moved into a foreign type of diet or an American type of diet. We feel that is much better than ours. Or the media has given that kind of an impression that these all things make you more healthier. You know, whatever we were eating, all these local things were not good. Actually, each and every fruit and vegetables and greens what we eat is much more better or equivalently good to those foods what we are eating. Okay. And the other thing is like each fruit or vegetable what grows in our locality, it is adapted to the people who stays around that. Okay. Same thing with the type of cooking what we were using. Actually, we used to have a normal healthy rice, dal, chawal. There was no issue with our grandparents or parents. Now we all are eating like rotis in the night. Actually, they all were having rice both the times. They were also since healthy. But only thing what happens is like our lifestyle changed.
Yes.
So if we eat the same amount of rice and products what they were using, it may not suit us. So in India, if we are like following the type of food, the South Indian what we are eating and the North Indian what they are eating, the food type is different. So the place where we are living, the staple food or the staple vegetable what we are getting, that we need to concentrate to improve our immunity. Rice-based things or ragi, wheat. So those kind of no need to go behind quinoas or oats and all those things. we can always can stay fit with what we are getting in the local. And the vegetables also, season to season, fruits, season to season it change. So just get adapted to the things what we are having, that will help to improve our diet. So if you are thinking about the season, now it is slowly the weather has been changed from summer to rainy. So summer times we used to take a lot of liquidy things, those kinds of things we need to reduce, because during the summertime lot of sweating was there, so that time we need to balance those things, so we need to add salt in the food and a little more to balance that. So now it is not required, we need little less salty. Too much of heavy meat sometimes it may not. What we need is like boiled herbal water, in the sense like jeera water, ajwain water, or little bit of ginger in the water. You can just mash it and add it. These all slowly improve the immunity. Okay, garlic can be added. Then in the vegetables also, like bottle gourds, methi, improve, add lot of not lot more of turmeric, like turmeric milk and all. These all help in building the immunity natural way. And the salads what we are using also, rainy season the mud will be little more wet, so there are chances to get infection if you take a fresh salad. So it is better taking little steamed one
Right.
than a fresh one, not completely cooked, just little steamed. So this is the thing what we need to follow. So we have to go back to our olden generation and see what they were doing to keep themselves healthy, and slowly get adapted to that type of a diet. So that is the basic thing what we need to do to improve our immunity.
Thank you. And moving on to the second question. The second question is, you actually mentioned a little bit about it, but if you can elaborate a little bit on that. How is food based on seasonal fluctuations? Like we are transitioning into monsoon now, and monsoon means we are like it's also the flu season. So how do we prepare ourselves in that context? And with each passing season, how do we alter our food from both an energy perspective and from an immunity perspective?
Okay, so if we are talking in that way, it is like, as I said, summer season, there will be a lot of sweating, dehydration will be more. So we need to take a lot of fluids in the diet. Okay, so we can, that time we can add like buttermilk, so fresh juices, then all those kinds of things more in the diet. Whereas when we move to a rainy season, that much water loss is not happening from our body. Right. So we can reduce that, but still we can include good things. Okay, it is nothing like we should completely avoid all those things. If it, like for example, if you are taking curds, okay, so summer, it's rainy season, it is better taking the sweet curd. If it is turning to sour, it may affect our belly. And all the vegetables, as I mentioned, like bitter gourd and all those, then leafy vegetables we need to reduce little at this time, because if we are not able to clean it properly, sometimes we may get some small kind of infections. We can include more of turmeric in the diet, ginger, garlic. So these all will build up our immunity to fight with the whatever pathogens may enter in our body. And citrus fruits can be included, which will help in producing a lot of white blood cells. The vitamin C rich fruits, like all the, actually whatever we get, like mangoes, gooseberries, then lime, orange, these all things actually in the vitamin C rich food means immediately we'll be thinking about like all type of berries and all those things. Actually no need of it. Vitamin C, best source of vitamin C is our local gooseberry. It have a lot of vitamin C content in that. So if we take one gooseberry per day, it's more than enough to meet up our requirement. Vegetables like broccoli, spinach, so all in their own part. What one main thing we need to keep in mind, do not overeat anything or do not eat very less. It should be in a moderate way. During this COVID season, we all used to hear that ginger is good, turmeric is good, so people started using it. So many clients or patients started asking us like, we are falling into acidity issues. Yes, we will. Our body needs in a certain amount of things. So whatever we are taking, we should be conscious about what we are eating, and the correct amount of it should be taken. When I am telling that we are like our staple food is like rice and ragi, no need to get tense thinking, oh my god, how can I eat rice? Rice will increase our weight. Nothing like that. The quantity matters. How I said, no. If we eat too much of rice only, it will lead into issues. If we eat the sufficient amount of rice with a lot of vegetables, it will not trouble our digestion. Actually, rice is having lot of good amino acids, which is good for our skin, our hair. So eat the right thing. That is.
How do we plan our food in terms of the consumption patterns? That is, should be 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and how much should be the quantity that we should be consuming on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when we are talking about the type of food we take or the type of new diets what we are following, we say that always be in a healthy diet pattern. Okay, so all these intermittent dieting or high carb, low protein, high carb, these all diet will be having their own problems in the later time. Okay, for a sudden change or something, it will be helping. But as I said before, many clients or patients are coming and meeting me asking like I was an intermittent diet for a long time. That time my weight reduced, but after I stopped that I started increasing my weight. Second thing is like my BP started increasing. One doctor has sent to me because her BP started increasing very badly. Her sugar levels increased very badly. She could not able to manage it. These all happened actually long back when she was in those kinds of a strict diet. So what happens is like our body needs all nutrients in the correct way. Okay, so if it is a normal working or a normal healthy person, that person will be needing an average of 1800 calories to 2000 calories per day, depending upon the work they are doing. It may change if the person is going to a gym, if it is a lactating mother or a pregnant, those it's a different. I'm talking about a common person. Okay, so that person needs almost around 1 gram of protein per kg. So if that yes, but if person is 60 kg, that person will be needed 60 gram of protein per day. So those all things, the carb, the fat, all will meet if the person is taking a proper diet. Okay, so if we are taking an intermittent diet for 4 to 6 hours, they'll be eating. After that, they'll be completely not eating. So what happens is like once the last food digests, the stomach acids are still active. So when there is no food, what happens is it will slowly start acting to the stomach intestinal wall, which may later lead into acidity problems and all. Okay, so these are the problems which may. And other thing is like when you suddenly lose your weight, hair loss is a main problem. Second thing is like your skin will start lacking. So so to avoid all these things, it is better reducing your weight in a systematic way. If you are not able to go to the gym at that time, the diet is a little different. If you're going to the gym and in a proper trained way, if you're trying to reduce the weight, that is a different thing. Okay, so it is like depending upon how you're going to work out, the diet should be planned. Okay, right. And always it is better taking small frequent meals. Okay, so from morning it is like start a day with a glass of water, which will cleanse your intestine. After that, you can have any seasonal fruit. Actually, don't go directly to tea or coffee. You can have a seasonal fruit. Actually, banana is a very good thing to start a day. One small elaki banana, if you take, it will soothe your stomach. And later, maybe after half an hour or something, you can have a coffee or tea. There is no feel to feel guilty. Oh my God, I had a tea today. Will it be affecting? Did our parents or grandparents thinking in that way? Or in our childhood, we used to think like that, oh, I had rice in the night. Will it affect me? That fear should not be there. What we are eating, we should be happily eating. Okay, and timely food. If in between, if you're feeling hungry, it should be like some healthy snacks, not from the packet. You can have like nuts or dry fruits or seasonal fruits or avlaki, which is a good thing. Which with jaggery, if you're eating, you will get a lot of calories and ions and all from that. And the nuts and dry fruits, when I am telling, immediately don't think about hazelnut and almonds, those things. You can always get all the same amount of nutrients from our cashew nut, peanuts and all. So I'm not telling not to take all those things. Those all things are good, but a common man can always adapt the like local things what we are getting over here. And lunch also in time. Then after lunch, if you are getting up too early, you can have a half an hour nap. There is no issue in that, which will be helping you to regulate the hormonal changes and all. So that will give a good hormonal balance. And dinner should be taken minimum 2 hours before sleeping. So as a conclusion, if we can say there are 4 things we have to be taken care to keep our immunity strong. First thing is food, then exercise, sleep and stress.
Hello, this is Sebastian from Inex in Germany. We are a precision performance company working with athletes and everyday athletes from the general population, including really specific types of testing and also training and establishing really personalized health and training regimens. You were mentioning body measurements like BMI, height and weight, and they are really good factors to include before we actually start a nutrition or training regimen or protocol. We even go a little bit further in trying to include some really interesting data that's coming up from the digitalization that's occurring right now. For example, on a basic level, of course, we will also include something like the body fat percentage, where we do either Calipa measurements with a Calipa, or we also do something like a Tanita scale, where we can also measure the body fat percentage. That is really interesting because when we implement our new health and fitness protocol on the sites where we measure the Calipa, the body fat, we immediately can see results. Like within days or within a week, we can see results where the fat actually goes away. So this is one body fat composition or body fat percentage. We also go into heart rate variability. We go into convergence. Convergence is the effect that that all of the body systems are aligned. Speaking of blood pressure, heart rate, and also the respiratory system in terms of stress management. These would be really critical markers to implement into the health protocol. Also, we are looking into sleep, what kind of sleep phases the customer is not really much into, specifically the deep phase sleep or REM sleep. What is really important in terms of nutrition and improving body composition, since we know the deep sleep phase is the sleep phase where we actually produce our growth hormone. Growth hormone is really one of the most important factors for growing muscle and also to losing body fat. What we can achieve actually is when we have clients that don't really sleep well, and we're not talking sleeping long, we're talking sleeping well. We can achieve losing body fat just by improving the sleep quality. That is really interesting, and that's just because of the growth hormone improvement. We are also trying to include some other markers, continuous glucose monitoring, where we look into the glucose in the blood. Continuous glucose monitoring actually allows us to have a steady view into a 24-hour habitual day of our customer, how he reacts or how she reacts on whatever food he intakes, or how the glucose actually behaves within a training protocol or right after. What does the glucose in the blood do during training, after training, or before training? And what is really interesting, when we include it also during night, we see when the device is actually on the skin, it sticks on the skin, so we can have a profound look into what the glucose is doing. Especially during night, if there are problems with sleeping, we can also have a look at the glucose. Maybe there is a drop in the glucose, and we can probably change the diet protocol to not have the client's blood glucose during night. So there's actually several more indicators or measurements that we use in terms of nutrition aspects, where we have to look into before we start a training regimen, before we go into a personalized training protocol. We actually decided to go more into neurology because our brain is actually the driver for movements. Our brain is actually the driver for strength, for stability, and for mobility. Instead of looking at local joints in terms of mobility and stability, we actually also want to look at the brain areas that are involved in determining what part of the body maybe is not working well, or maybe there are some asymmetries in receptor type or in nerve types, or maybe in the spinal cord, in the brainstem, or also in the cortex. Having done the neurological screening, are there any dysfunctions?
10 foods from your list, which you would say like, yes, go for it. And 10 foods that you would say, no, be careful or totally avoid. What would be the top 10 for recommended 10 good food, recommended or not recommended 10 bad food?
Okay, so first we will go with the positive thing, the recommended one. Okay, most important thing, keep in mind that local, seasonal, and traditional. Okay, so the food what we can include most importantly like citrus fruits, then garlic, ginger, turmeric, curds, then poultry like meat items, all varieties of fruits, then nuts and seeds, and spinach, bell pepper, all these things, all the locally available vegetables, all we can include in the good side or the advanced side. What we need to avoid, most important is like processed food item, then packed food items, pickles what we buy from outside, then gluten-free food items, then all these artificial colored things, flavored foods, alcohol and smoking, and outside food. These all we will keep in the things to be avoided.
Right. And if I have to distill the whole thought process and put things into words, it could be that first and foremost, think local when you eat, and first and foremost, give a little bit of thought on what we are eating. And if you have no idea of what to eat, seek guidance, because in the scheme of things, to understand what goes into our system is very, very important, because the outcomes of that could affect every part of our life, including performance at work, way we live. I think food and nutrition definitely has a big say in our immunity, in the way that we respond to stress, or how much of that actually reflects in our work-life balance, our sleep patterns, the sleep-wake patterns. Everything is centered around the energy management system, is what I understand from you. And if there's an energy deficit for any reason, it is important to understand that specific requirements to fulfill the deficits. So in that sense, again, instead of just relying on fads, pick up what is right. And before you make the decision fully informed and educated. If not, seek guidance from a general physician or a practicing nutritionist, and only then engage in any strict dietary pattern or anything that requires you to give up your existing dietary pattern and consumption pattern. Short-term impacts and long-term impacts of what we eat and consume can be made more effective if we look at seasonal foods that are available. And given the fact and the understanding that traditionally it has held us in good stead, especially our ancestors, even our parents and grandparents, it is easy to take the reference point from there, telling that the local produce is good and it suffices to cater to most of our nutritional requirements from all perspectives. And thirdly, if at all we need to have any kind of a supplementation, again, make sure that recommended daily intake is another important aspect, which only can be told by a professional after looking at our diet and nutrition profile. And lastly, being more conscious about the way we approach nutrition and diet, and to the extent possible, make it directly from kitchen rather than from the supermarket. Thank you so much, Suvina. I appreciate your time and effort.
Only food, only exercise, if we separate it, it will not. So the diet, exercise, sleep and stress, all the pillars together, we can always be immune and we can overcome all these pandemic situations. So take care.
On that positive note, thank you.